version 1130 is out. There are 5 new legendary sets to show off. Since it's the first thing in major new features, that's what we're going to go over. So, let's jump in the game. The first set we're going to look at is the Corvin Dune Fiend. Corvin Dune Fiend is a Nightblade, Oathkeeper, and what was the third one? Driggs? Occultist set. You can see that it is nice and green. I actually really like that coat. I'm going to steal that coat for something. The set is a dual wield set. The helmet has a passive that allows you to dual wield. It is a predominantly Pierce Acid based set. The weapons are swords, so they have physical damage by default, but you get a lot of physical converted to acid damage on the set. And we kind of want that base physical damage because it will give us a large pool of damage for weapon damage to pull from, which is what we want because the first ability this heavily affects is Shadow Strike, and both of the weapons give a 30% weapon damage bonus to Shadow Strike. The second ability that gets focused on is Eye of Reckoning, and it turns Eye of Reckoning into a green tornado, which I can't show because this character is not an Oathkeeper. So we went over these sets when there was that stream a while back, and you can see that video, which I think I did put on YouTube, to see the green tornado. So it is a Shadow Strike, Eye of Reckoning mainly set, but you could also run Blood of Drieg in there if you're running the Occultist, part of this trinity. Individually, the blades. So we have Eye of Reckoning and Nightblade skill bonuses. The physical converted to acid, like I said, on both of them. And then they both kind of do the same thing. They add the weapon damage to Shadow Strike, acid and poison damage to Eye of Reckoning, and convert the physical to acid damage on Eye of Reckoning. Basically, one of the daggers will do the full conversion. Well, one of the swords will do the full conversion. But you'll want to get both, obviously, to complete the set and to maximize the damage on Eye of Reckoning. I would definitely say this is for your dervishes. The Occultist, Oathkeeper, and the Nightblade Occultist combos are probably not who want to really run the set. But I would definitely say, regardless though, Oathkeeper is the middle piece of this, and you're jumping to either Nightblade or to Occultist. So, the helmet converts some lightning damage to piercing damage, and that's actually pretty interesting. If you're running some of the pierce damage things, I think Nightblade, or no, some of the lightning damage things. And wait, what runs lightning in here? Wait, seriously, what's the lightning thing you get in these 3 classes? Oathkeeper Reckoning? Okay, thank you. Don't know the Oathkeeper that well. So yeah, you have some lightning converted to piercing in here. It's on the helmet, it's on the chest piece, and it is on the 4-set bonus. The helmet gives you the passive Dune Fiend blades. Just lets you melee dual wield and add some flat acid damage and slow res for your character. Chest piece looks like a pretty standard set chest piece. So the set bonuses, the 2-set bonus is damages. 3-set bonus is some total speed, physical resistance, and some points into Blood of Drieg. And the 4-set is the aforementioned lightning converted to piercing damage, plus 3 to Eye of Reckoning and Shadow Strike, reduces the recharge of Blood of Drieg, adds a % health restore to Blood of Drieg, and offensive ability to Blood of Drieg, converts all of the cold to acid on Shadow Strike, adds a 20% chance of Shadow Strike's cooldown being refunded, reduces the cost of Shadow Strike, adds acid damage to Eye of Reckoning, adds poison damage to Eye of Reckoning, adds some lifesteal to Eye of Reckoning, and converts all of the fire damage to acid damage on Eye of Reckoning. Whew. So if you equip this entire set, you get pure acid damage, Shadow Strikes, and pure acid damage Eye of Reckonings. It's a lot of poison too. It's a big ol' poison build. So this is the Void Fiend, Void Soul. It's a Void Edgelord armor set. Big old bladed shoulders. The Shredder cosplay continues. So this is a Chaos Vitality set. Yeah, another one. This is for your Oathkeeper, Inquisitor, Occultist. So the chest piece has some flat chaos damage, convert some fire to vitality. You have points for Aegis of Maynir, Infernal Purge, and Doombolt. The helmet gives you some elemental converted to chaos damage. Get some points on Aegis, Occultist. Adds some crit damage to Doombolt and reduces the cost of Doombolt. That's actually pretty big, making Doombolt crit harder. We have some physical converted to chaos on the shield, +1 to Oathkeeper and Inquisitor. You add weapon damage to Aegis of Maynir, convert the physical to chaos damage on Aegis of Maynir, and you add some chaos damage on the Flames of Ignifar. So what this does is it turns your Captain America throws his mighty shield move into a chaos version of that. So it's kind of pink. And then the shoulders are some pretty standard set shoulders. We have any other procs on here? We got the Void Soul proc on the shield. 30% chance on block you hit for a chaos damage, proc, and reduce vitality and chaos res. On your enemies, the 2-set bonus is DA and chaos res. 3-set bonus is some crit, OA, energy regen, and +3 Doombolt. And then the 4-set is +3 to Doombolt and Flames, add chaos damage to Doombolt, lifesteal to Doombolt, and you convert all the vitality to chaos on Doombolt. Then we have a +1 second recharge to Aegis of Maynir, but it increases the total damage of Aegis of Maynir by 55. And then we convert all of the fire to vitality on Aegis of Maynir. Then we have add vitality damage and vitality decay to Flames, add lifesteal to Flames, and reduce the cost of Flames. So Flames and Shield are your attack things here, and then Doombolt. I would say this is probably more focused on your Oathkeeper Occultist combo, especially given that you can make Doombolt crit really, really hard with this because of, the 25% crit damage to it. But yeah, it's your, I don't even know what the archetype would be. You throw your shield, that's chaos, and then you also have the Doombolt. So this is the Targo's Craft, aka the Torgo's Craft, because my brain, that's funny. I'm sure nobody else gets it. So this is a physical pierce internal trauma set, mostly for warlords, but you could probably also do Blade Masters and whatever the Nightblade Oathkeeper is. Okay, Siphon. Yeah, I can't really look at any of the abilities, though. We've already gone over the effects changes, though, on the sets. So, you get some Judgment and Soldier skills. This is the weapon. We also have a reduced skill recharge to Judgment, add internal trauma damage to Judgment, and physical damage to Blade Arc, and internal trauma damage to Blade Arc. So, oh yeah, and that's what it looks like. So, this one actually, funnily enough, combined with the Spell Scourge, might actually make Blade Arc kind of useful as a weapon and as a set, because, Blade Arc is kind of crappy with a one-hander, and this might actually make it good, because it adds such a giant amount of damage onto it. We're going to have to test this on our Battle Mage that has Spell Scourge, just to see if it actually makes Blade Arc worth arcing with. So the helmet has some acid to physical conversion. Some skill cooldown reduction, which is interesting. +1 to Oathkeeper and Nightblade. You add some physical and internal trauma damage to Judgment. You add some physical damage to Amarastas and completely convert the cold to physical. Standard set shoulders. And some elemental converted to physical on the chest. So the set bonuses. The 2-set bonus is some damage. The 3-set bonus is some damage and OA and some reflected damage reduction. Okay. The 4-set has some acid converted to physical, +3 to judgment and Amarastas, adds physical damage to Blade Arc and internal trauma damage to Blade Arc, reduce the skill recharge of judgment, add weapon damage to judgment, add physical and internal trauma to Amarasta's Blade Burst. A pretty, like, this is probably a good stat set, but it's pretty much one that's a little on the boring side to look at. And like I said, that hammer I think is the one thing I want to try most. Just because it will maybe make Blade Arc with the Spell Scourge set actually usable. Alright, so the fourth and final set is the Pyron's Ruminations. So this is a Sorcerer Templar Shieldbreaker thing. It's an Arcanist Demolitionist Oathkeeper set. So it's got some interesting things on it, and it's got some things that make me go, what? So Pyron's Vestments is a caster chest piece that doesn't have energy regen. What? We have some cold converted to fire. It's interesting, right? So the helmet is lightning converted to fire. It does have energy regen on it. We also have a giant chunk of health regen. 14 is actually pretty significant, and it's also got percentage there. We got +1 to Demo and Arcanist, and we add fire damage and burn damage to Devastation. We increase the radius of Mortar Trap and add burn damage to Mortar Trap. I would assume that's burn damage on the Mortar Trap hit, not around the actual Mortar Trap. The Offhand converts physical to fire. We have some burn, frostburn, and electrocute damage bonuses with the durations increased. And +1 Oathkeeper. Oh, and it has another big like chunk of health regen and a big chunk of energy regen. But again, no base energy regen on the chest piece, which is what? But yeah, we get +1 Oathkeeper, and we add fire damage to Mortar Trap, convert all the physical to fire and Mortar Trap. We add fire damage to the Guardian of Empyrean, and we have some fire and lightning res reductions on Guardian of Empyrean. We reduce the skill recharge of Devastation, add a chunk of burn damage to Devastation. And the shoulders are some pretty standard shoulders. But this has a significant amount of health regen on it. Which is interesting to me, because if we were running this set, we'd probably be running a fairly highly leveled up Vindictive Flame, which means we'd have a lot of health regen going. So the set bonuses, we have some damages on the 2-piece, some OA, another giant chunk of health regen on the 3-piece, Chaos Res and +3 to Guardian on the 3-piece. 4-piece, we have +3 to Mortar Trap and Devastation. We add a duration to Devastation. We add some resistance reduction to Devastation, and all of the Aether gets converted to fire to Devastation, and that does make Devastation look fiery. We also increase the limit of Mortar Trap by 1. It lives longer, costs less. We add fire damage, and we reduce fire and lightning reses on Guardian of Empyrean. We also get the Pyron's Pyre ability, which is basically you're like throwing out an explosion, essentially. That's the one thing we can definitely show. It's interesting. The set's like really interesting and a little weird to me because it doesn't have like any physical res anywhere. Well, that's % away on shoulders. That's actually kind of crazy. It's got an obscene amount of health regen, which for a sorcerer is kind of great. I'm wondering if it's actually going to be good or not for that. I am considering working this into my AAR build, actually. But the energy regen kind of is maybe going to hurt that. Because you don't have we don't even have like a 4 energy regen on the chest. It's on the helmet, but like I said, we'll just have to play with it maybe in the future. Oh, I'm probably going to play with some of this stuff on Monday, I think. Not tonight. I am not in the mood tonight. I am going to comment on one thing. I rarely comment on art and design in games, I have 2 comments on this one. Why does this look like a Shaman set? Why does it not look like something a sorcerer or Templar would wear? Why is it all bones and like tribal looking stuff? Also, why is it purple? It's a fire set. It should minimally be goddamn orange. It does. I actually think this looks like crap. This is probably the first time I've ever said something in Grim Dawns looked like crap. Once I'm on the Iceborne demo, it's bye-bye Grim Dawn. Well, the demo goes for 3 days, Jin. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the demo time. That's why I'm going to probably stream on Saturday.
Hi there.
Anyways, thank you for the follow. Strict? Oh, Strict92. Gotcha. Anyways, actually that demo I think is also going to be limited to Gen, just to a weekend. But I think when they do the public demo, they're going to add in the Elder Dragon for you to hunt, like they did with Nergigante. Or they'll throw another demo in that has it. So I am interested in building this set, both in an Apocalypse / Hellfire Sorcerer, but also on my AAR guy, because I've always wanted to do. I've actually always wanted to do mortar traps with AAR, and there are actually 2 other items that we're going to be going over during the patch notes. I saw the word fashion and just said it. Fashion Dawn. I'm so glad we have. I'm so glad we have transmogging, because I would never stand this set on my character. It's out of flavor, and it's out of flavor in terms of appearance, and the appearance just actually looks bad. The other sets look great. This one doesn't. This one looks like they just had these assets and we're like, yeah, we'll just use them. And I haven't looked at the Loyalist pack yet. I don't think I'm going to buy it. Pick it up, whatever. But yeah, I am really curious to see how this would stack up with some of the items we're going to go with. When we actually get into the patch notes, which we're going to do right now. But when we actually get down there, you'll see 2 items that, when combined with the Pyron set, maybe you are going to make an AAR Hellfire Sorcerer a possibility. So that is another thing. The second Loyalist pack is out. It's got some pretty good looking skins. Which are added to your transmogging. Not really, Jin. Not really. Anyways, major new features. Loot Hunt continues with those 5 legendary sets. Shattered Realm continues to crumble with 4 twisted new anomaly levels to surprise you along the way. Coven now sells invisible helm and shoulder illusions at their quartermasters. Loyalist Pack 2 is available. Added more totally normal objects to be discovered. Adjusted monster damage scaling on waves 151 plus, and they added spawns to 162 and 163 for the Crucible. Shattered Realm, the Logharion, and the Fleshwork theme bosses have been made larger. Finally, like it's only been a month, but you know what I mean, right? Those things were stages, especially the Logharion one. I'm glad that they're bigger now. Adjusted boss distribution on shard from shard 30 to 60 range for smoother progression. Certain bosses no longer appear before shard 61. Hopefully that'll solve the problems of like Reaper or something stupid showing up really early and making it a little more difficult. Fixed an issue where you'd rarely have insufficient monsters may spawn in a chunk. I'm actually surprised that was an issue. I think I've maybe had 2 slow chunks, and I've never had a problem with the density. So, Eye of Reckoning, item skill modifiers now feature alternate effects on conversion. Righteous Fervor item modifiers now feature alternate effects on conversion. Savagery item modifiers now feature alternate effects on conversion. Updated the effects for Amarastas, Blackwater, Blade Spirit, Lightning Strike, Maelstrom, Primal Strike, Reckless Tempest, and Ring of Steel. Do I have any? Yeah, I have some of these I can show. Did I take Amarastas off this? I did. Well, Ring of Steel is... That was the cold version, technically.
What troubles you? Stay strong.
And Amarastas. Yeah, the AoE looks nicer.
Let me clear your mind of regrets. Safe journey.
And then Blackwater got an update. Yeah, it looks better. I don't think it's bright enough. It needs a bit more yellow in there.
I can't do that yet.
And there's some others in there that I don't really want to look at. But yeah, I'll point out the things I wanted to maybe change in my AAR Sork in the near future. Hey, Talentless Cloud. Okay, so tech. As part of our steady road towards the Xbox One release, the game now features a built-in voice chat system. Options for this are found under Audio with a new keybind for push to talk. Fixed an issue where the last point could not be removed from skills when the points were not placed in the modifier they share another skill with, like Golden's Chosen. Fix an issue where certain enemies would stop using their skills when approaching a player at point-blank range. Isn't that the thing where they just walk up and stop and stare at you? Here, hang on. Pow, pow, pow. Alright, fixed an issue where Ishtal... Oh, game. Fixed an issue where Ishtal the Mind Reaper would sometimes create more mirages than intended. Owners of Ashes in the first loyalty pack can now consume the illusions to add them straight to your collection at the Illusionist rather than have to apply them to specific items each time. Okay, that's what I thought it was. Alright. Itemization. Various player scaling pets from item skills are now invincible and no longer collide with enemies. Okay. Alright, Agravax Malice added attack speed. Annihilation added attack speed, reduced cooldown and energy cost on the granted skill. Bane added attack speed, increased OA. Conflagration increased burn damage on granted skill. Doom added cast speed. Eldritch Pact increased the health regen. Increased the health regen on it. I have the Storm added cast speed. Ignifire's Combustion reduced damage dealt by the skill. Malediction added attack speed, increased poison duration and retaliation on the skill. Added attack speed, add cast speed, increased health regen on those, and increased health regen. Okay, yeah. So, tweaks on the relics, added casting speed and attack speed. Monster Infrequent. Ascendant Hood added -5 target radius and +1 duration for devastation. Ascendant Hood. I know the crown. Hood's not coming to me. Whatever. Bargle's Core has been reclassified as a scepter for the purpose of affixes it can roll. Values updated accordingly. I think it was a mace before. Bloodlord's Vengeance increased the duration modifier for Ascension to 3 seconds. Added 100% Chaos Dealt as fire modifier for it. So Chaos Dealt as fire modifier for Ascension. Bloodsworn Repeater reduced cooldown modifier for Doom Bolt 2.5. Added some chaos damage to it. Hey, Yobi Rayan live. Welcome to the stream. Let's see. Coast Wraith added crit damage to devastate, or increased the crit damage on devastation. Flesh Roped Incinerator reduced the cooldown reduction modifier for canister bomb. Added burn damage to it. These, I'm not gonna lie, I hate going over these things. It's just tuning the knob, Yobi. Okay. Well, welcome to the stream. I hate going over this stuff. It's so just... We tweak the knob by 2%. We tweak the knob by 3%. That's actually... Like, I need to find changes like this. Flesh Rope Tome. Reduce the Lightning Delta's Aether modifier for Alex Ace rated 30%. So this actually does change something on a build. Because, it used to be around 50%. Now it's around 30%. So it basically took 20% of this... Of the lightning damage. And it basically made AAR a little weaker when you're going for pure Aether AAR. It's a tiny change, though. So it's not that big. Korvok's Burning Blade has been reclassified as a dagger for the purpose of FXs it can roll. Aether Delta's acid modifier for Blood of Dreeg. Aether Delta's acid. What is it? Where's acid damage on Blood of Dreeg? It doesn't... Blood of Dreeg doesn't have some weird, like, weapon damage on it, does it? Or is this... No, it wouldn't be reversed. I don't understand that one. So we got some increases in damage for the Blade Arc on the... Blade Arc things on those two weapons, the Sandclaw Slicer. Yeah, it's Acid and Chaos. I don't get this one. Yes. Added 45% of Aether dealt as acid. Aether as acid. Not acid as Aether. Aether as acid. For Blood of Dreeg. Anyway, Arcane Heart Powder, they added some flat fire damage and percent away to it. Remove the energy regen and health. I actually don't like that change. I actually would prefer Arcane Heart Powder to have kept the energy regen and health. Because it, if I recall correctly, it was the Aether Fire energy regen health augments. And I would much rather have the energy regen on there than the health. I mean, I guess it makes sense given that this has added all damage and DA to Arcane. Arcanum Dust has all damage and DA, increased the energy regen, removed the elemental damage and health. That I actually like. I think I'm going to be using that a lot for things, and I have to go find it now. Oh, that could be it. It just converts all of your Aether to acid damage while it's up. With that necklace. That could be it. it's weirdly specific. And that's why it was confusing me. Bysmeal's Control replaced the OA with Health. Coven's Wit replaced Chaos with Armor. Forge Fire added Elemental damage, removed energy regen. Hammerfall Powder added Pierce damage, removed energy regen. That, again, I would rather have the energy regen than damage. Iraz Blood added DA, removed health. Rotgut Venom increased the energy regen. Steel Bloom Powder added physical damage and OA, removed energy regen and health. Typhoon Powder added DA, removed energy regen. Faction Hex Flame. Okay, here's one of the items that I wanted to bring up that we're going to be playing with next week. Added 100% Aether Delta's fire damage for Albrecht's Aether Ray, and a minus 10 fire res reduction modifier for Thermite Mines. So Hex Flame, for the uninitiated, is a fire chaos dagger that you can get at the Coven. And for the longest time, it was like the perfect AAR weapon, except that it was fire and chaos. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking to do. Injin is an AAR Pyron Sork. Because there's another item later on that converts the lightning damage to fire. And I would assume that one or both of these items convert the beam's color to a fire beam. So we would be able to run an aesthetic on point of just having fire everywhere, which is not Aether everywhere, which is what I prefer. But it might be easier to run, because the other thing we can do with this is we can drop Hellfire Mines and free up those points from the Demolitionist. It's about 30 points or something like that. We'd end up freeing up, which we could then take and put over into Mortar Trap to get it to 13 out of 12. So we would have 3 Mortar Traps we could lay as we run through the stages. And the Mortar Traps would be dealing presumably high damage. We wouldn't have the big one, just so you know. But that's fine. We don't need it. Because we're the big one in that case. Because we would be running Albrecht's Pure Fire, so we can focus on one damage type. The Sorcerer combo focuses on Fire and Lightning really, really well. Because we're converting all of the Aether over, we can still use our Amulet for the lifesteal and AAR. This opens up some things like running that flame. Is it a Chaos Fire ability with the resistance reduction? That one devotion. So our devotion works more cleanly with itself. And we could even run something like Meteor Shower. So it actually, I think, would make the build potentially much better because we'd be more focused on things. And we could actually run like a Warp Fire again instead of running the... And actually, I think Warp Fire would be kind of great with this because we would have another stack of fire res reduction, and Warp Fire actually gives a lot of fire damage over Aether damage. So we're running Hex Flame, never mind. Derp. So we could actually run Eldritch Fire. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so we could actually run the set and run the Hex Flame Dagger, and we'll get to the other item later on. It's Olzen's Mark. So we have a Pure Fire Beam, we have the Pure Fire Devastation from the set. We can run Eldritch Fire, we can run Meteor Shower, we can have minimum 3 Mortar Traps. We can run all sorts of stuff to support all of those abilities because they're just there. So we'll basically have a Hellfire Sorcerer that has Albrecht's Aether Ray. Now, of course, that could be a complete and total waste and be a huge, huge mistake on my part to try and run it. And the lack of energy regen on the chest piece kind of makes me concerned for that, but we get a lot off of the helmet. And I think there's enough energy regen we could build up for that we could make up for it. Anyways, so we'll have to see. Like I said, Monday we'll be building that. Configuration for leveling. I don't need to level it. Faction, Burning Shadows. Added +3 to Dread. Added 100% of Pierce converted to Fire to Bone Harvest. Replace the bonus to Vindictive Flame with plus 3 to Agonizing Flames. Replace modifiers for Vindictive Flame with plus 50 Burn, Vitality, Decay damage. Over 3-second modifiers for Blackwater Cocktail. It's not recycling characters. It would be my main character running it. I just want to find an easier way to run AAR on a sorcerer and keep it strong. And we get to pull in like sorcerer memes with it. So that's why we're going to try that out on Monday. Because tomorrow and possibly Saturday we'll be streaming the Monster Hunter World Iceborne demo. And I don't feel like streaming tonight. I just figured it'd be a good idea to go over the patch notes regardless. So yeah, Mark of Burning Shadows, we add some stuff to Dread. It makes Dread, or makes a Bone Harvest fire, and I would assume Bone Harvest is basically like waves of flame, bone flame. Now, men in my audience, if your bone is flaming, please go see a doctor. It shouldn't be doing that. It is definitely something wrong, and you should seek medical attention. So, we also add some burn and vitality decay to Blackwater Cocktail with this mark. Faction, the Overseer, added % OA for pets, increased the crit damage modifiers for Summon Hellhound and Summon Briarthorn, and added slow resistance modifiers for them. So you basically make your pets immune to slows and gives them some OA and crit. Venom Flame added +2 to Agonizing Flames. Blazeseer Crest and Blazeseer Girdle had % damages added. Storm Serpent replaced Elemental Awakening with Shadow Strike. Replace Shadow Dance with Indulge While Ends. Replace Elemental Awakening with Nightfall. Replace Pneumatic Burst with Shadow Strike. So Storm Serpent set is going to be Shadow Strike now instead of Pneumatic Burst oriented. See, Vinny, that's taking the joke one step too far. You gotta keep it subtle. Hair. Also, if your hair's turning yellow, that is actually kind of normal. My hair does that if I get a lot of sun. It goes from like a medium dark brown. It actually lightens up in the sun. And my skin turns burnt and painful. And I combust. I'm very, very, very like ghostly white. I don't like the sun. Okay, so non-legendary set items. Let's see. Blazeheart, or legendary non-set items. So reduce the damage reduction on the Dawn Shard procs. Oh, rip Dawn Shard procs. What are you listening to right now? My standard high quality commentary, Clobber. You know what you signed up for when you joined this stream? You signed up for twitch.tv. And then you watched me. Bladebreaker Sash, they reduced the OA on it. Blazeheart, reclassified as a dagger. Values adjusted accordingly. Increased the attack speed. Added 45% of Chaos Delta's fire. And +2 to Siphon Souls. Added 100% Vitality Delta's fire. Minus 15% fire res. And +2 duration modifiers for Siphon Souls. Remove the bonus to Master of Death. Physical damage Delta's fire. And modifier for Mark of Torment. Okay, so Blazeheart is now just a Siphon Souls thing, and it just makes Siphon Souls fire. I would assume it makes Siphon Souls look like a little fire burst too. Chillheart reclassified as a dagger. Values adjusted accordingly. Added some fire. Delta's cold. So I am guessing that when we get down to the S's in Stormheart, it's going to be a dagger. Hey, look at that. Increased attack speed, remove crit damage. Boom, done. Conduit of Arcane Whispers added -1 second cooldown modifier to the Devastation variants. Okay. Small little buff to Devastation things there. Corruption of Gargable removed the Vitality Decay damage. Added 100% Elemental as Vitality modifier for Flame Touched. How do I do it? Well, if you were a genius, you would understand, Jen. So, it looks like you just need one Corruption Gargable to have pure fire or pure Vitality Flame Touched. No. Wait. Flame Touched. What? I was thinking Fire Strike. That's weird. So the flat damage, I guess, would... Wait. Does this just make you, when you have Flame Touched up, does it just convert all of your Elemental to Vitality? Or is it just the flat damages on it? We have to look at that, because... Because Corruption of Gargable, I believe, is the gun, right? Interesting. So I'm wondering, I have to look at this. See, I'm thinking it just adds that line, 100% of elemental damage is dealt as vitality damage, because I think it might just convert all of your elemental to vitality. It could just be the flat damages get converted, though, from your flame touched. We're going to have to see. That could open up some more... That's what I'm thinking, is it just takes all of your flat elementals. Okay. So if it does that, that kind of opens up the filers a bit, because you can just then focus on vitality damage with any of the abilities. I actually kind of like that. So Decree of Aldrich added a cooldown reduction modifier for Devastation. Decree of the Circle of 5 increased the damage on the granted skill. That's the bone spear. Dread Knight's leg plates increased the health. Eldritch Gaze added block chance and shield damage block modifier for possession. Interesting. Feral... Interesting. Not notable enough for me to stop and talk about it. Feral Main Leg Guards increased the DA. Gale Wind Treads added some OA. Marker of Ulzin. This is the other item I was talking about earlier. So Marker of Ulzin now has a 100% of lightning damage converted to fire for Albrecht's Aether Ray. So you can make Albrecht's Aether Ray literally pure fire. And I would assume the Hex Flame changes it to a fiery looking beam. So if we combine the Mark of Ulzin... I have to look at this thing otherwise because I don't remember what it does. Mark of Ulzin is a fire chaos thing. Adds fire damage to Albrecht's, adds burn damage to Albrecht's, adds chaos damage, converts the physical into chaos, and Granado. Judgment crap down here. So I actually don't know if I'd run this, to be quite honest. I don't think it's worth it. So yeah, I think I'd probably pass on the Mark. Chaos Vit Pyro Open. Yeah, I think it would also open up that too. Pretty much anything where you want to maybe focus vitality and you're on the Demolitionist. So yeah, I'd pass on this thing, to be quite frank. I wouldn't care about having that little bit of lightning damage on AAR. Mythical Aether Reach reduced the cooldown reduction modifier on Reap Spirit to 1 second for some reason. Mythical Amatok Step, they added some physical resistance. Andiros Amplifier, they increased the fire damage on Rune of Callistor. Arcanum Frigus, they increased the cold damage modifier for Devastation. Yes, Vinny, we've established that. Anything where you want to focus on vitality with the demo. That's kind of the point. It helps focus a build down. unless it was just the flat damage on Flame Touched. Then it would actually be still not bad. Like I said, I might have to actually look at it on my Defiler, because we might build something then for it. That could be really cool, based around Vitality damage. It's not like there aren't a bajillion sets, too, that support it. I think even that guy was running the Dread Knight set. Or Blood Knight set. Whatever that set was that gives you the that's Vitality focused. Okay, Mythical Avatar Chaos. Increase the damage and damage reduction on the granted skill. What even is Avatar of... Entropic Presence. Ability must be toggled to maintain. Okay. Increase the damage and damage reduction on the granted skill. Okay. Bladebreaker Sash. Reduce the OA. Oh, mythical version of it. Reduce the OA. Mythical Blood Song. Reduce the bleed damage modifiers for Blogathian Shears and Whirling Death. Boots Primordial Rage. They added health. Codex of Violent Rifts. Reduce the cool damage modifier. Excuse me. The cooldown modifier for Doombolt. 2.5 seconds. Chord of Violent Decay. I thought it was Virulent. Increase the OA to 80. Added +2 to Thermite Mines and Hellfire Mines. Was that the no. What belt was that? No, it was Violent Decay. You know what's funny? I actually use this belt on a character. Okay, so they're adding on Thermite Mine and Hellfire Mine support here. Not bad, actually. I could see that helping out a Aether focused Defiler or Sorcerer, actually. Alright, Mythical Decree to 5, they increased the damage on the Bone Spear. Mythical Dread Knight Leggings, they increased the health and added physical res. Mythical Essence of the Grim Dawn, reduced the cooldown on the skill proc. Did they buff that amulet? That's actually kind of surprising. Reduce the cooldown on it? That amulet's ridiculous. Like, actually kind of ridiculous. And they made it better? It's not increased the cooldown, it's reduced the cooldown. So the proc is going to proc more. I mean, the proc isn't why you wear that amulet. It's the lifesteal for AAR is why you wear that amulet. I guess because it doesn't provide resistances or anything. Just making it more DPS-y is fine. Alright, Mythical Flames of Wrath added minus 15% Aether Res modifier for Summon Guardian of Empyrean. Heart of the Sand King increased the bleed damage for pets, and they added some DA. Lifeweaver Signet, they reduced the cooldown on the skill proc. Okay. Mythical Maw of Despair added Aether damage modifier for Calidors, reduced the cooldown of Warcry by a second, and they removed the chance of damage reduction modifier for Calidors. So they just have a helmet that makes Calidors hit harder. When it was already... Actually, it was pretty good for Calidor's Tempest. Not gonna lie. Murmur's Kiss increased the DA. Knight's Embrace reduced pierce damage on it and reduced the cold pierce resistance on the granted skill to minus 15%. Pack of Treacherous Means. Bonuses redesigned now enables the ability to dual wield weapons without mastery skills. So Pack of Treacherous Means... Pack of Treach. The Treacherous Means was just piercing. It was piercing and acid damage. It was a ranged weapon bonus. So you got some piercing and acid damage and armor piercing on it. Now it just lets you dual wield. So yeah, I actually think that's a nice redesign on that for a belt. Mythical Rocket Jocks now deals lightning damage. Damage value is adjusted accordingly. Added minus 10% lightning resistance modifier for a storm box to it. Sash of the Bloodlord, added 3 to Infernal Purge. Sign of Noxious Wounds, added poison damage with 100% cold Delta's acid modifiers for execution. Added 90 poison damage modifier for Necrotic Edge. So this would be, I don't remember the weapon. It sounds like a weapon. But yeah, I'm assuming whatever effect execution has is going to be slightly green tinged with it. You'd probably run this on your Reaper. I don't even think a Reaper would run that. Never mind. I mean literally run execution. But yeah, poison damage for those to convert the poison to acid for execution would make it, better. Screams of the Aether is, execution would now be an acid potential ability. Screams of the Aether replaced Terrify with Confuse. That was a change they did to a lot of things in the last patch, where they changed Terrors to Confuses, because you generally don't want enemies to run away from you in games like this, especially if you're in like Shattered Realm. So that's a good change. Mythical Cyreneer's Commendation increased the DA on it, replaced the Elemental Retaliation with Fire Retaliation, added % all retaliation damage to the skill proc. Okay. I don't know retaliation, so it just looks like it's making it 1 damage instead of all 3 for reasons. Shadow Flame Mantle increased the Aether Delta's Chaos to 30%, added +2 to Fabric of Reality. Spellbreaker Wasteguard added Acid Delta's Pierce. Spell Drinker increased the cooldown modifier for Mirror to minus 1.3 seconds. Stormheart reclassified as a dagger, added Chaos converted to lightning. And Fire Delta's lightning increased the attack speed, removed the crit damage. Yeah, we just looked at the normal one, not the mythical one. So okay. That is actually potentially really good for a Fire Strike build that wants to use that. Because you're already lightning focused. You already convert all of the fire to lightning on it. Now you just convert half of all chaos to lightning. Yeah, I think that's actually a really good change for that. It'll just help you run Fire Strike better and more consistently. Also kind of makes it easier to build things that are using chaos damage attached to the Demolitionist, because you'll now just have lightning to focus on if you run one of those. If you run 2 of those, you're just a lightning character. Yeah, Elementalists I think would get a lot of value out of that. Pyromancers I think could actually get a lot of value out of it too. Maybe even Saboteurs could get a lot of value out of it. So Third of Mortality increased the health regen, added +2 to Invictive Flame and Mogdragon's Pact. Time Warped Walkers increased the slow res to 40%, physical res to 4%, added +2 to Hellfire Mines. Tome of Arcane Wastes added all res reduction to the granted skill. Tome of Arcane Wastes. Sorry, what? Did I not? Oh, it's of the Arcane Wastes. Oh, okay. For all of the Obliteration fan out there, there is your resistance reduction on it. Tome of Atonement, fire damage increased to Rune of Callistor. Ulzin's Torment added fire damage. Voidwalker Footpads increased the DA. Mythical Will of the Blade added +1 Nightblade skills. Replaced Ring of Steel proc with new proc Wound bonus to Blagothian Shears. Remove skill modifiers. So they move the blade. Okay, so mythical and normal, because it doesn't have the Ring of Steel proc. So this just gets a proc, I guess. Unless they copy pasted that wrong. So we'll have to see what the new proc is, if it's worth anything. Wind Shear Greaves, reduce the cooldown on the skill proc. Increase DA to 85. Outcast Secret, reduce the cooldown modifier to Devastation to -2 seconds, reduce the damage on the skill proc. I don't agree with this, by the way. Outcast Secret getting nerfed. There's like a build that uses it. And you've nerfed Outcast Secret now. And released the Pyron set for the very same build. Correction, 2 builds that use it. One of them was an AAR build. That's like the one change that they had in the patch notes I didn't understand the first time I read it, and I still don't understand it. Pack of Treacherous Means. Oh, same thing, redesign. Shard of Eternal Flame. These are just normal ones, and I'm just going to skip by them. Reduce the cooldown reduction modifier for Canister Bomb to 0.5 seconds added. Burn damage to it. Stormbearers, increase the DA, increase the damage on skill proc. Stormheart, Arcane Wave, Swallow the Blade. Okay. Oh, Grey Knight. Replace the bonus to internal trauma damage with +4 to Force Wave. Replace Force Wave modifiers with 50% modifier. What? Just that shield? No, I don't think it's going to make it too strong. Look, the Warlord just exists. Nothing is too strong anymore. Alright, so they're adding a chunk of Force Wave stuff to that. Alright, legendary sets. Alagast Masterpiece. Increase the Aether damage modifier for Stormbox. Barrelsmith Destroyers. Reduce the cooldown modifier on Canister Bomb. Mythical Barrelsmith Salvo. Increase the lightning damage modifier for Canister Bomb. Black Scorch set. Increase the health bonus to 1,000. Added chaos damage modifier for Sigil of Consumption. Which Warlord? All of them. Added 80 chaos damage modifier for Sigil of Consumption, and move the Fire Delta's chaos modifier to the offhand. Okay, for the uninitiated, the Black Scorch Covenant and the Black Flame Covenant are the Chaos Aether Ray sets. So, Black Scorch. It is sort of an Albrecht/Sigil combo, and then you have some Flames of Ignifar stuff thrown in there. So, what the set is doing is, the set as a whole, it increased the health bonus it has to 1,000. And now it adds 80 chaos damage to Sigil. And they move the fire converted to chaos for Sigil onto the offhand. So the Orb of the Black Flame now has that conversion for Sigil on it. The Blade of the Black Flame, they increase the Fire Delta's Chaos to 45%, increase the Chaos damage modifiers for Albrecht's Aether Ray and Flames Ignifar to 80, and they added 100% of Fire Delta's Chaos modifier to Albrecht's Aether Ray, aka Pure Chaos Beam. No longer do you have to have a Fire Chaos Beam, because you would be using Tainted Power with this. This now just makes the Fire half Chaos. Orb of the Black Flame. Increase the attack damage converted to health modifier for Sigil. They added 100% fire converted as chaos to Sigil. Move the chaos damage modifier to the set bonus. So they sort of did a switcheroo. For the set, They made it so that you only have to focus on chaos damage for the build. Makes it easier to run it. They didn't do a huge tweak to it, but it is some loving for the set. And they actually increased the damages that you're getting from the weapon. Here and here. By about, what would that be? 30%? 20-ish? 20? Because plus 14, so it's maybe about, yeah, maybe around there. Maybe around a good little 30% boost, right? A little under 30%. But yeah, they're giving it just a boost in damage for you and making it easier to build. Blight Lord's Hood, they added some fire and vitality damage modifiers for Blackwater. Dagalon's Destruction set added 20 lightning damage modifier for Fire Strike, reduced the fire damage modifier to 20, increased all res reductions for deadly aim to 24. On the Annihilator, they added some percent fire. On the Destroyer, they added some percent lightning. So I guess that would be buffs all around for that set. Death Guard replaced the bonus to Execution to +3 to Shadow Strike, added crit damage and 100% Pierce dealt as acid modifier for Shadow Strike. Placed Nadala's Hidden Hand with Nightfall. Replaced Rolling Death with Nadala's Justifiable Ends. Replaced Execution with Shadow Strike. Deathmark set. That's a different set. Yeah, so Death Guard is now a Shadow Strike oriented set. It's eerily similar to the Dervish set in that they are both acid fire or acid shadow striking. But one is oriented towards Reapers. The other's oriented towards Nightblade Oathkeeper. Dervishes. I said the name like not 2 sentences ago. Yeah, so that's the thing. I don't know if that's gonna make the Reaper more appealing or not. Deathmark Shadow set. Reduce the projectile deflection to 15%. Reduce the cold piercer resistance reduction on a granted skill to 15%. Reduce its cold damage. Mythical Deathmark Jacket. Remove the bonus damage to humans. Reduce the cold damage to 10. Okay, so was Deathmark's set actually getting used and a little abused? Because that seems like a nerf to a set that I didn't even think existed. And I wasn't even using. And I'm guessing someone out there was probably using it and being a naughty boy. Diviner's Vision set. Reduce the cooldown reduction modifier to Reap Spirit to 1 second. Increase the summon limit modifier to +2. Hey, you want more ghosts? You get more ghosts with the Diviner set now. Diviner's Mask. Reduce the cooldown reduction modifier for Reap Spirit to 0.5 seconds. Added 90 Aether damage modifier for it. So your Reap Spirit your Reap Spirit burst is higher now. Diviner's Codex reduced the Aether damage modifier to 70 to 200. Don't remember what that was on. What was that on? Diviner's Codex reduced Aether damage modifier to 70 to 200. Oh, to Reap Spirit. Okay, so they just shifted some Reap Spirit stuff around for the Aether damages. Iskander's Unification set. Increase the weapon damage modifier for Trojans to 40%. Increase the chance of cooldown. Reset modifier to 20%. And its energy cost reduction to 20%. Yeah, I would say the Iskander set's underperforming with its changes. And I don't actually like the changes that much. We already had 2 Trojan Sky Shard sets. And one of them was performing really well. And I generally... I was optimistic for those changes, but ultimately I don't think Iskander's Unification should be a Trojan Sky Shard set. it's a little too specific, and we already, like I said, had 2 Trojan sets. And I think something more clever for it should have been done. But I couldn't say what. But yeah, it getting a general buff is nice. It's not... Like, we'll have to try it again with it buffed up. Because I think it was like 24, wasn't it? It was like not a lot of weapon damage. So maybe we'll actually have a significant increase in the damage of it. And we'll get more of the doubles. The double procs. So we'll have to wait and see. Light's Guardian set. Increase the lightning damage modifier for Stormbox. Light's Defender Gauntlets. Reduce the lightning damage modifier for Stormbox. See, I guess that would be because someone out there probably had a build that was using Stormbox, and they're using the gauntlets to give Stormbox more damage as part of the build, and they were like, yeah, we got to tweak that down because I don't even know. And then they just threw it on the full set to make up for it. So just move along from that, James. Just don't even try to comprehend the types of damage tweaks like that. So, Ludegren's Pride set, they added a 1.5 explosion radius modifier for Panetti's replicating missile. So yeah, that just makes Ludegren's hit harder with Panetti's, which is really nice, actually. Ulzin's Flame Spreader, reduce the fire damage modifier for a canister bomb. Ulzin's Headguard, increase the burn damage modifier for canister bomb and remove the cooldown reduction modifier. Can't let the Demolitionist have too many good things, I guess. So Razin's set, reduce the energy cost on the granted skill, increase the chaos res reduction modifier for Curse of Frailty. Razin's Gem, reduce the chaos res reduction modifier for Curse of Frailty. So they're sort of, splitting that apart. Yeah, God forbid, Xantai forbid, the Demolitionist has something good. Oh no! Canister bomb's usable! People are building it! We can't have that. Time to nerf it. Clairvoyant's Focus set. Added Aether damage modifier for Doombolt and Reap Spirit, and increased their chance of cooldown reset modifiers to 20%. Clairvoyant's Hat. Added a 12% fumble per 2-second modifier to Arbok's Aether Ray. Clairvoyant Scepter added cooldown modifier for Doombolt. Or reduced the cooldown modifier for Doombolt to 0.5 seconds. Yeah, this is something I mentioned a while back. When I saw these patch notes when they first released. I was like, oh, there's going to be something that makes the Clairvoyant set as a whole more worth it when you're running it as a Spellbinder. Because the helmet actually, because it converts the lightning damage to vitality damage on Albrechts, it actually nerfs Albrechts. It reduces your actual DPS output, especially when you consider that the Flesh Warp Tome can convert that lightning to Aether for you. Which means you're actually reducing your damage that you can get to with Albrechts with the Flesh Warp Tome relative to the damage you get from having the Clairvoyant Hat equipped. This might actually kind of make it worth it again to run the full Clairvoyant set over the Flesh Warp Tome. Now, I was running the full Clairvoyant set because I'm lazy. And I was like, I'll just equip the whole damn thing, whatever. And, the build I was using... the Outcast Secret's a better helmet, in all honesty, for a Spellbinder, running that AAR build. With a Flesh Warp Tome with the Mythical Essence of Grim Dawn. I think that's your optimal setup there. This just keeps the helmet relevant, because, honestly... the conversion to vitality does kind of hurt your setup with that. Now, of course, I was running it. My Spellbinder is doing just fine because I don't care about min-maxing that hard. So, with the Mythical Clairvoyant Hat, though, now, you don't feel so bad running it. Because even though it technically is going to make Albrecht's Aether Ray a tiny bit weaker, Albrecht's Aether Ray causing fumbles to happen just increases your survivability. And I think that's a fair exchange. And it's not it's a huge damage loss, honestly. Deathmark set. Reduce the projectile deflection. Oh, this is the other Deathmark stuff. The Mage Slayer increased the energy regen bonus to 4 and added a good chunk of offensive ability. That's nice, actually. Spell Scourge set added attack speed, increased the energy regen to 6, reduced the elemental resistance to 20%, swapped energy regen bonus with elemental resist bonus. Oh, they swapped it on the places it shows up. Oh, yeah, okay. So they just swapped the energy regen and elemental reses were swapped. So now it's on the 3-piece and the elemental res is on the 2-piece. And they just added attack speed to the whole set. Which is fine. That should help it. And I actually think the Targo set is gonna help the Spell Scourge set. Because the Targo Hammer, like I mentioned at the top of the stream, is going to have the physical damage added to Blade Arc. And this already adds physical damage to Blade Arc. So it should potentially make Blade Arc usable? Question mark? We'll have to see. Spell Scourge Bulwark added elemental dealt as physical. Didn't it have it before? It did not. Okay, so this set will actually just completely convert elemental to physical. So that's good. Spell Scourge Deflector replaced the bonus to shield training with +2 to laceration. Added attack speed modifier for Overguard. So when you pop Overguard, you get attack speed. That could also help it too. Vile Blade Pact removed the modifiers for Righteous Fervor. Urbruk's Gaze increased the Vitality Delta's Aether damage for Drain Essence to 100%. Pure Aether Drain Essences. Valdoon's Betrayal added 50% Elemental Delta's Pierce, replaced the bonus to Searing Light with +3 to Temper. Valdoon's Bounty added Temper and Deadly Aim, +2 to each. Valdoon's Hat replaced the bonus to Deadly Momentum with +1 to Soldier Skills. Valdoon's Jacket replaced the bonuses to Scars of Battle and Fighting Spirit with +2 to Deadly Momentum and +2 to Flame Touched. Valdoon's Treachery set added 50% Fire, Delta's Pierce, replaced the Searing Light with +3 to Temper. So Valdoon's, and then this is basically the non-mythic version of it. So Valdoon's set is changed from I guess it would be a commando set to just I guess it's just a commando set. Because before it was just pure soldier, right? So that just makes Valdoon's more of a commando-oriented thing. I only remember Valdoon's because it was busted when it first came out. And it was like emergency nerfed. Valgur's Hunger set, they added Elemental Res to it. The Touch added 25% Chaos Delta's Vitality. Virtue's Light set added minus 0.4 second cooldown modifier to Aegis, remove the fire damage modifier. Okay. So there isn't really a long story short on the sets. They were just all tweaked up or down. It looks mostly like buffs, and certain things that were abused were removed. But yeah, it's not anything like huge. There were a couple like reworks in there, but I would say that the sets as a whole are pretty much going to perform better in their respective builds. That makes sense. All right, so class and skills. Player scaling pets are now unsummoned when swapping out equipment that modifies them, e.g. plus skill bonuses or skill modifiers. Was someone getting all wonky with the Guardians of Empyrean? Like equipping a thing, summoning them, and then taking the equipment off? You know, like what you could do in Diablo 2, where you equipped your Arm of Leoric, summoned your army, and Blade Spears. Okay. You could... Way back in Diablo 2, you would have on your weapon swap the Arm of King Leoric. And you'd go and you'd summon your army, and then you'd swap back to like your beast rune word or whatever weapon. Some of your skeletons would die, but the ones that were there would keep their snapshotted stats that were better when they were summoned with the Arm of King Leoric equipped. Looks like Grim Dawn had a little bit of that going on, and it was too fucky, so they took it out. All right, Devotion. Abomination increased the health. Kraken added physical res, reduce the all damage. Typhus added stun / convert res for pets. Abominable Might activates on attack rather than on kill. Values adjusted accordingly. Replaced health with health regen. Hand of Old Host, reduce the elemental res reduction. Still going to be the main choice for elemental builds. Living Shadow Shells are invincible and no longer collide with enemies. Okay. I have no comments on this devotion stuff except Hand of Oathkeeper is never not going to be picked as your elemental go-to. Alright, so the classes. Soldier. Blade Arc increased the base weapon damage to 60% and increased its scaling with rank to 165 at 16 and 205 by max ultimate rank. Laceration increased the physical damage scaling with rank, particularly at ultimate ranks. AKA, Blade Arc got buffed. So, Blade Arc got buffed. We got the Targo Hammer. We're going to have to try that on the Spell Scourge next week. Oh yeah, I know, Yobi. Like, the Bazooka Wizard that's in Diablo 3 right now, I would absolutely try to build that if I were still playing Diablo 3. Because just that whole, like, you're playing that piano, and then when you got everything perfect, you have the enemies in a group, and your ring is rotating to the arcane damage, and you summon, you cast your Star Pack Meteor, and then you transform into Archon with all of your Archon stacks, and you have all of your damage bonuses set up, and it's like you just pinpoint laser strike for, buckets of damage. Yeah, that build looks amazingly fun and challenging, but not challenging in the way that, like, obnoxious calculator bosses are quote unquote challenging. I mean, challenging in the way that you have to, like, just get it right. And when you get it right, like, I watched a video of it, and when they were fighting the Rift Guardian, it was like, yeah, you have to also be, standing in the buff on the ground. Like, there's all this stuff that gets factored into it. And then I remember watching the video of it, and, like, the guy dealt a quadrillion damage to the Rift Guardian with one of them, the Star Pack Meteors. It was awesome. I wish that type of build was around when I was playing Diablo 3 still. Anyway, yeah. Blade Arc just got buffed. Clean Sweep increased the weapon damage penalty to minus 25%. Zohan's Technique increased the internal drama damage scaling with rank. Oh yeah, so here's a tweak. Like, I was making fun a little bit of the Olsen set earlier, but Canister Bomb just had its overall cooldown reduced. Energy costs adjusted accordingly. What was the change to Olsen set that I was getting all huffy about, and I actually don't care? Oh, they reduced the fire damage modifier on it. They removed the cooldown reduction modifier completely from the set. So yeah, they just reduced the cooldown to compensate for that. Aspect of the Guardian. Increase the damage bonuses scaling with rank to 72% at rank 12, 142 at max ultimate rank, increase physical res scaling at ultimate ranks, Okay, straight up buff to Aspect of the Guardian. Doombolt added oh, this is another really big one. So, and I mean that literally. It's like a really big one because it's like comparison to Giant Genitals big. So they added crit damage base to Doombolt. They removed the current life damage. They reduced the cooldown and reduced the energy cost. Or energy cost reduced accordingly. So yeah. Doombolt is now the big D Doombolt. Like I mentioned earlier, that helmet from Void Soul gives you crit damage. You get crit damage right here with it. You get other sources of crit damage just going. Yeah, your crits on Doombolt are going to be real big. Would I actively make a character to build around it? I'd incorporate it if I had an occultist. Maybe my Blade Arc character might use it more. We'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be stronger. It's gonna be bigger damage numbers. Oh no, it's a great buff. Amros's Blade Burst. Visual now correctly only appears around the initial target rather than all targets, which has been misleading. Veil of Shadow. Increase the OA reduction and speed reduction scaling at ultimate ranks to minus 200 and minus 35%, respectively. So if you're heavily investing in Veil of Shadow, you get more out of it. And the Arcanist has a gigantic list of changes. So, Disintegration. Increase the crit damage scaling with rank. Yes. Distortion. So, yeah. Disintegration on Albrecht's Aether Ray is like one of the reasons Albrechts can be really, really, really strong. Because it's just free crit damage. It just adds on. Whenever you crit, you just have big crits. And now they're bigger. I mean, Chaos Witchblade. Yeah, that's what he was. He was a Chaos Witchblade. He is a Chaos Witchblade. He's at actually 100. And I never got to making a build video for him. But I did play him a bunch. So it was Blade Arc as his main attack. And he had Doombolt. He had another ability in there. I think it was like Soil's ability. Whatever. But yeah, bigger crits on Disintegration, aka bigger crits on Albrechts. So Distortion, increase the fire damage scaling with rank. Supercharged, increase the elemental damage scaling with rank. Increase the crit damage by 4%. So these two parts of Panetti's got buffed. So just more elemental damage, specifically fire damage. Inferno, increase the burn damage scaling with rank. Added lightning damage, removed the physical resistance reduction. The meme is dead. Let me get the bell out so I can go out in the streets and clang it and be like, the Calidor's Tempest meme is dead. Clang. So they just made Calidor's stronger. They added lightning damage onto Inferno, and they removed that questioningly there physical resistance reduction. So Calidor's will just hit harder now, and you don't have a useless stat line. Inner Focus, because you needed this. It increased the OA on Inner Focus. I'm not going to complain about that at all. The one viable Battle Mage build is dead. Iskander's Elemental Exchange. Okay, this is another kind of big one too. They removed the physical delta's elemental damage to it. It has been moved to the transmuter. Manifestation. Added 30% of physical delta's elemental for the player. That's also kind of a big deal. Because Iskander's Elemental Exchange, before, that conversion was always a problem if you went to something like a Battle Mage, or even a like Sorcerer. Because sometimes you would actually want... Well, not a Sorcerer. Actually, I think it was just the Battle Mage that would have this problem. It would actually, I think, hurt some other builds. Because now you had to invest points in Manifestation to get it back. But it's actually a boon. because any character that wants to build this is building it for one of two reasons. Is building it for one of two reasons. You either want the energy regen, or you want flat elemental in there. I do it mostly for the energy regen, but now I could do that on a character and not worry about crippling their physical damage. Because something like the Spell Scourge Battle Mage, I actually want to pull a Scoundrel's Elemental Exchange in so I can go to Elemental Balance and get more crit. But I couldn't really do that before because any pluses to Arcanist would actually hurt my overall DPS because they'd build a Scoundrel's Elemental Exchange up, which in turn would build up the physical damage converted to elemental damage, which would actually not help me at all. It would not help that build. Now this will actually help that build. It's a small change, but it's actually kind of a significant change at the same time. Let me put it like this. It's a small change for almost everyone, but it's a big change for a build that would need it. So Trojan Sky Shards, they increased the explosion radius by a tiny amount, which is nice. They added speed reduction to Frozen Core. Also nice, because Frozen Core pretty much was just that one point in between the Sky Shards and Shattered Star. So having that actually makes it a much more interesting ability, because now it's also a speed reduction ability. And Shattered Star, increase the chance of lightning damage scaling with rank. Percent chance now scales faster with rank to 45% by rank 12 and tapers off at ultimate rank to 50%. Oh, that's also another good point that Jin is making. You no longer nerf physical damage in multiplayer games just by existing, because it's an aura. Scoundrel's Elemental Exchange is an aura, so now you just don't affect other people. So we have increased crit damage scaling with rank as well. So crittier crits on the Sky Shard. So Sky Shard's got a pretty nice buff, honestly. So it just looks like the Arcanist got some nice crit buffs across its abilities. It didn't get the thing that I've been like screaming from the rooftops for, which is elemental resistance reduction somewhere. But it's a buff to the class as a whole. Yeah, you get more damage, but you don't get the thing you really need to make your builds better. Okay, Shaman. Emboldening Presence. Increase the physical resistance scaling at ultimate ranks. It increases the OA scaling with rank. So that's your buff your Briarthorn does? So it's just better. Maelstrom. Reduce the lightning scaling with rank. That's not... Why? Why? That's... What? Okay. What? Why? Maelstrom is just bonus damage. That's not why you pick the tornadoes. I mean, I have points on my Druid. I have points in Maelstrom because it's just free damage, which is like a nice point investment. But that's not the reason I picked Maelstrom. I picked the tornadoes. I picked Wind Devils for the middle ability to get the elemental resistance reduction. Maelstrom was just the place to put extra points because it's just free damage. And now that free damage is slightly worse. Were they? I never thought the damage was that great. Primal Strike. Increase the weapon damage scaling with rank to 260 by 16 and 320 by max ultimate rank. Thunderous Strike. Increase the weapon damage penalty to minus 85%. That's a weird sentence right there. Increased it to minus. Oh, the Cyclone set. Okay. Stormcaller's Pact. Yeah, because you don't want to nerf the Cyclone set. You want to nerf everyone. Stormcaller's Pact. Increase the chance of lightning damage scaling with ranked and percent stun. Added percent stun res. So you get stun res from Stormcaller's Pact, and the chance of lightning damage has been increased. Not the lightning damage itself, the chance of that lightning damage happening. So overall, Primal Strike got buffed. Not the rework that Xantai wants to do yet, but it is buffed. And Maelstrom got nerfed. Bowling Presence got buffed. Stormcaller's Pact got buffed. I don't know that I actually picked Stormcaller's Pact over the other exclusive skills. Oh shit, I forgot to put hashtag dead builds in the title. Anyways, Bursting Round increased the fire damage scaling with rank. Chilling Rounds increase the base pierce cold damage and frostburn damage scaling with rank. Flames increase the damage scaling with rank. Intensify replace physical resistance reduction with defensive ability reduction. Infernal Purge increase the electrocute damage scaling with rank. Horn of Gondar added physical damage reduction. Horn of Gondar. It might actually get useful now. Stormbox of Eagleath reduce the damage scaling with ranks. Storm Spread increase lightning damage scaling in ultimate rank. So the gun abilities all got buffed. Flames got buffed. Flames got hecka buffed, man. Like, Intensify getting DA reduction is actually really good. I'd actually say that's a pretty substantial buff. Because that just applies to any damage you're using with that ability. And then Horn of Gondar actually might be useful now. Because there's not a lot of physical damage reduction in the game, especially percent physical damage reduction in the game. So maybe a little toot will actually be used. And Necromancer, they reduce the cooldown of Reap Spirit and reduce the energy cost. Blight Fiend now has way more health. Unstable Anomalies variant health remains unchanged. Oh, and they reduced Stormbox's thing. So, yeah, the things we saw up top that were related to the sets reducing the cooldown a lot. The reason is they just reduce the cooldown overall for anyone that wants to use the ability, and then they reduce the energy cost as well. Alrighty, I have no thoughts on those necro changes. Is Oathkeeper not touched? Well, you can't mess with perfection, boys. So, well, the problem, Jin, is you have to use Horn of Gondar. Alright, so the things we're going to work on Monday in Grim Dawn. We are going to tweak our AAR guy. I'm going to try out the Hex Flame. The Hex Flame Dagger. Oh shit. Don't play the music. Oh, it might count the title screen music. Whatever, you know what? I'll contest the copyright claim that's inevitably coming from this. Yeah, so the Hex Flame Dagger. I used to actually make fun of this thing. But yeah, it. Show Void Soul set again? Sure. Yeah, the Aether converted to fire. I mean, it's not Aether Ray anymore, it's Fire Ray, but that's fine. And we get the reduced fire res on Thermite Mines. I'm thinking we're going to drop this entire chunk of the Demolitionist. The 12 points there, and then the points that are down here. We're just going to carve those out. And we're going to redistribute them across. Well, I'm probably just going to throw 1 point on Heavy Ordnance. But I'm definitely going to get this to over 16. We're going to try for 17 out of 16. Because I want to run the Pyron set maybe with our AAR guy. And see how it works out. For Devotion on that setup, we obviously aren't going to be running the Arcane Mines anymore. Because we're going to run Eldritch Fire. And we might be able to pull Meteor Shower in then. Because, like, we... maybe. I think it'll make it a little easier to just play the character. But we'll have to see. Yeah. Should be... should be a fun build challenge to work that ability in while still maintaining the core of the character. Alright, Void Soul. Elemental converted to Chaos on the helmet. It's the big thing. That's where we get our crit on Doombolt. Void Soul Bulwark. Physical converted to Chaos. Add weapon damage to Aegis. Convert all the physical to Chaos on Aegis. Add some Chaos to Flames. We also get the Void Soul proc here. So chance on block. To apply a Vitality and Chaos Resistance reduction debuff. Shoulders are pretty standard shoulders. Add Bloodsworn Repeater. That is... That's a Doombolt pistol, adds a large amount of chaos damage, Doombolt, and converts all of the vitality to chaos and Doombolt. I think the set does that line, by the way. Yeah, the 4-piece does that. Or the Vampirus Scepter. Oh, is that for running like flames with this? Game has to think of it. Think a second before it rotates the weapon. I think Jin was looking for Doombolt spam, which is why he wanted that pistol. Yep, and then the we got the DA and Chaos Res on the full set. Oh yeah, I didn't look at the chest piece. Again. Fire converted to Vitality is your big draw there. And then we got the crit. That's more crit, by the way, on the 3-piece with more OA, which is effectively more crit. Energy regen plus 3 Doombolt. And then we have the massive amount of chaos damage added to Doombolt, the lifesteal added to Doombolt, and all the vitality converted to chaos and Doombolt. So yeah. Yeah, that is kind of a weirdly specific damage. And if the Pyron set doesn't actually work out on our Aether Ray guy, we will slap it on our actual Hellfire build. Yeah, so anyone got any final thoughts? Whatever, new Chaos toys. So yeah, the patch is less a balance patch and tweaking patch like the last one was. Oh, you and your hunt for quartz. Yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to be doing the Monster Hunter Iceborne demo on PS4. I have to actually fix my PS4. Barring that, if I can't get that working, you approach Chaos Witchblade, having seen Doombolt and Blade Arc changes. I mean, I just run my same character. Would I work in the Void Soul set? I don't know. I would definitely consider the helmet, though. Because he's running the Eldritch Gaze for Chaos Blade Arcs. He's got a two-hander. That's sort of the problem is... he's running a two-hander, so he maybe can't run that set. But yeah, I would probably run most of what I'm running here anyways. He's running Doombolt. I mean, I don't know what he'll crit for. Not a lot right now, because he's not... He hasn't been updated in a very long time. See, I'd probably run it just the same character I've always had for it, just slightly different. This guy we'll look at really quick. No, I think I updated him early Ashes of Melmoth. "100% elemental converted the vitality to flame touched." Yeah, I think that's just all of the elemental. What do we have that deals elemental? So that would be...
That skill's not ready.
See, I think the thing is, it's hard to tell. Well, given that it's barely changing the damages. I am doing Vindictive Flame. I don't even have Flame Touched. What the heck is wrong with me? Yeah. Hang on a sec.
What troubles you?
Let me have a minor stroke while I forget what the abilities are in this game. Yeah.
Let me clear your mind of regrets. Safe journey. What troubles you? Farewell.
So that's definitely something I would do for this character, because he's all vitality focused. Because I would just get Flame Touched built up really high, because that would help his OA as well. Defiler, we'll work on in the future. So yeah, it's gonna cover, I think, this patch note stream. Like I said, tomorrow we're gonna be doing Monster Hunter Iceborne, the demo. And if the PS4 fixin' does not work, then I'll probably play this stuff and work on it in Grim Dawn. Even though it's a Friday night, because we've already done a lot of Monster Hunter this week. I might be doing a stream on Saturday. I haven't completely decided yet if I want to commit to it, just to play more of that demo, because I'll probably be doing that anyways, and I might as well stream it. And then Monday we will get back to doing the Grim Dawn stuff, and we'll hop in with our AAR sorcerer here and try out the Pyron set with the Hex Flame Dagger and see if that gives us anything interesting. If it doesn't, I mean, it should at least like push some weird building, But if it doesn't work, then we'll convert him back. I might even just back up his save file and resave it over to save myself the trouble of doing that. And we'll throw the Pyron set on the second sorcerer just to play with it. We'll also be working on the Battle Mage starting next week. Because I think with the boosts, with the buffs to Blade Arc, the buffs, well, shouldn't say buffs, the new weapon, the Targo Hammer, I think maybe the Spell Scourge, Blade Arc, Battle Mage with the physical devastations would actually maybe function now. But we'll have to see. Like, we'll have to actually sit down and grind out everything for it. And just... who knows, right? Who knows if it's actually going to be worth doing. But we'll definitely try it out. Starting next week. Try and make a Battle Mage that's functional in higher end Grim Dawn. Oh, that's going to be a struggle. Maybe, yeah, exactly. Maybe functional. Who knows? And actually, I still do want to kind of try to maybe do a Trojan's Escandra's Battle Mage. Because I never got around to doing that. And I think it might actually be kind of interesting to use the Escandra set on a Battle Mage to maybe see if it works. But again, that's another big ol' who knows type of thing. So, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I will be back tomorrow around 5 to 6 o'clock EST. Thank you for coming, Digital Hero. We'll be doing, like I said, MHW Iceborne. Looking at all those juicy weapon changes. Hunting a Tigrex. Hopefully, this will be my last thought. Hopefully, we'll see some other monsters out there too, because in the previous demo, Puke, Rathlos, Diablos, and Geradados, they were not targets for any of the quests, but they were on their respective maps. So we'll see if we get any surprise monsters in there that we can go hunt. So thanks again for watching, everyone. Have a great night. And I will see you guys next time. Yeah.